Very good morning here on a brand new week, brand new month. Today is Monday and the stock market just about to begin to trade. And if you are following the news, then you might think that the stock market should go down today a bit. Well, I can tell you that's not the case. So the stock market seems not to care that we have US and China tensions going on, that we have riots going on, high unemployment or highest since decades of years, and that we are currently in one of the biggest health crises of our generations. Okay, so, and it seems that the stock market just don't want to care. And let's have a look what does the futures are saying. So the futures actually started negative. So it seems like the stock market, somehow digest this kind of information, but then it turned positive as of now, guys. Okay, so this is just like a now and then present pickup of the situation. But as you can see here, let's go for example for the futures here, and you can see that we started quite negative here towards the night, and as earlier we going into the morning, we are going more and more positive, guys. Okay, so we started the futures somewhere around 3036 and then went up just as of now 3042, and I'm very interested. So we actually opened 3029, but we still keep the still seems to be keeping holding of the certain $3,000 mark in the S&P futures. Now they're going a little bit negative, but same for the Dow Jones, very stable now, holding the 25,000 mark. So this is very interesting, guys. You have to understand also today is some European countries have holidays. This means that the trading volume can be a little bit lower. This means that it can go either in one or this other direction, a little bit more, let's say, stronger than it should be with higher volume. So this is also important to know. However, we shall see what's happening on the US front. This is the most important part. The domestic situation is very serious, guys. Very much is going on in very big cities in the US, and the government seems to don't have an answer yet. So I believe that this will be very important what happens there further, and then we shall see what happened also on the US and China front, because everyone expected actually some kind of China news this morning. But if you are scanning the news, which I do every morning for you, so make sure to thumb up this video. And I always look into some morning news here. One of the websites that I'm using is, for example, South China Morning Post. The only news that really catched my eye is that they did, but this was also yesterday, a news that they just declared around this Southeast Asian areas where they're building apparently some military bases, that they announced a ADIZ zone, which is like a kind of closed up zone, that because there's some US airplanes that scanned the area to check what China is doing there, but apparently they now announced a security area. So it seems that if US could to continue these flights, then this could mean a kind of stress for both our countries. Otherwise, no big news. There is some mocking by some government officials over Twitter and so on from China over the protests in US, and they compare it to Hong Kong and so on. So it's quite interesting to see that the market is quite I would say resistance, right? But on the other news, you also see, the let's say the riots in US seems to be not yet out of control too much that it should affect the stock market. And on the other side, China didn't respond. So then obviously how the stock market can then go down, what some other people expecting maybe by 5%, 4%, 6%, right? There's always this voices on the markets that, why the stock market don't go down. There's still the Fed that is pumping a lot of money into the market, which brings some kind of stability. And on the other side, none of the situation is escalating right now. Okay, so this is also important to understand that though we have this small fires every there, I mean, unemployment is a quite big fire in this case, but it seems that none of them start to burn the house, right? So I believe that this is important to watch, and therefore it's very interesting to see what also the US government doing against it. There's also the election coming up, so a lot of things coming up now on the same time. And I believe also the current situation in the US, it's also because of the current status. People are angry, people are at home, people are losing their job or having pay cuts, so they want to release their tension, and it seems that it's now the great situation you can do it outdoors, right? A new outdoor activity, and again, as I said, this is not right, guys. Definitely not the right step to have all this hate out there. So what does it mean for the stock market? We shall watch what the futures are doing until the market opens. What are the news in the current situations? Today is the first work day that starts in the US, so just a couple of news will come up in the next couple of hours, but that's the overnight update for you guys. So when you wake up, if you're living more west from Dubai, we have now 10 a.m. and if you're living more in the west like US or South America, or Germany or Europe, then you might wake up now and looking for this kind of news. And then if you're living even more west in the US, then in a couple of news you will have a small first update. And make sure to like, and there's a couple of videos on my channel that you can watch meanwhile, and I will definitely come later on with a brand new vlog. Today is Beyond Meat Mondays. You shouldn't miss this episode because I'm talking about when it's a good time to buy, in my personal opinion, into Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat has very interesting news. Big data came out with a very growth market of their type of industry, so very, very important, guys. And otherwise we shall definitely watch out for the further development of this situation. There's no big economic data whatsoever that should impact the market. There was some good economic data coming up from China, though, that Chinese manufacturing and everything picked up in May, which was quite surprisingly, but on the other side was not surprisingly, because when you go on very, very low levels, every upper tick is obviously quite positive, because wow, it's going back, we are seeing better levels. And so don't always, if let's say you was at 100 and going back to going down to 10, right, then you lost 90% of whatever. And then if you're going from 10 to 11, it's still way lower than 100, but it's still 10% better than the 10, right? So don't forget this math when you're seeing all this data. And I see you later on. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to thumb up or subscribe if you are brand new here. Thank you very much for watching.